The room is still quiet in that tender way only morning knows. The kind of quiet that feels almost fragile, as if the day has not fully decided what it will be yet. Light is just beginning to gather at the window, pale and soft, touching the edges of the table, the floor, the worn places in the house that have seen so many ordinary mornings come and go. Maybe the coffee is cooling a little too fast. Maybe the dishes from last night are still in the sink. Maybe your body is already awake, but your heart is moving slower, like it needs a gentler invitation into the day. And maybe that is why you are here. Not because everything is fine, not because you woke up full of strength and clarity and energy, but because something in you was tired of starting the day from the middle of your own noise, tired of waking up already behind, tired of carrying yesterday into today as if rest never really found you. There is a kind of exhaustion that sleep does not touch, a heaviness that sits quietly under the surface, not always dramatic, not loud, just there, in your chest, in your thoughts, in the way simple things feel harder than they used to. Sometimes, it feels strange to admit that. Life can look so normal from the outside, the same kitchen, the same hallway, the same keys on the counter, the same messages waiting, the same responsibilities lined up like they always are. And still, inside, something feels worn thin, like you have been holding too much for too long, like your soul has been speaking in whispers because it no longer has the energy to shout. There are seasons when gratitude feels easy and obvious, and there are other seasons when gratitude has to be gathered carefully, almost like picking up fragile things with trembling hands. Not because God has been less good, but because your heart has been bruised by life in ways that are hard to explain. Maybe you have been trying to stay steady for everybody else. Maybe you have learned how to smile while carrying sadness you do not know how to name. Maybe you are not even sure what exactly hurts anymore. Only that you are tired of pressure, tired of pretending not to feel it, tired of being brave in the same places every day. And yet, even here, there is still this small, holy moment. This morning has not asked you to perform. It has not demanded that you be impressive. It has not required polished words or heroic faith. It has simply opened its hands and made room for you to breathe, to arrive as you are, to let your soul stop running for a minute, to remember that God is not waiting for the best version of you to show up before He comes near. Sometimes healing begins that quietly, not with a breakthrough that changes everything in one instant, but with a slower return, a remembering, a softening, a moment where you finally stop fighting the fact that you are human and let yourself be held there. There is something sacred about beginning the day without pretending, about letting God meet the real you before the world starts asking for pieces of you. And maybe that is what this morning can become. Not a dramatic reset, not a promise that everything painful will suddenly make sense, but a place where your breathing slows, a place where your shoulders drop a little, a place where your spirit is reminded that it does not have to make itself safe, a place where you can be honest about the season you are in and still believe tenderness is possible here. Psalm 23 has comforted so many tired hearts for a reason, not because it denies the valley, but because it refuses to let the valley have the final word. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. There is something deeply personal about that. My shepherd. Not distant, not abstract, not merely a truth for stronger people, older people, better people. Yours, present, near, attentive, the shepherd who sees where your soul has become worn out and does not shame you for it, the shepherd who knows how to lead gently. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. There are mornings when that sounds less like poetry and more like survival. Restore my soul. Because some days your soul does not need to be pushed harder. It needs to be restored. Not judged, not compared, not hurried. Restored, led beside still waters, not dragged through noise. Given quiet, not pressure. Given presence, not performance. And maybe that is what your heart has been longing for more than it knew how to say. Not just answers, not just relief, but restoration. The deep kind. The kind that touches the hidden places. The part of you that misses who you were when life felt lighter. The part of you that still remembers softer seasons, even if only in flashes now. The smell of early mornings when you were younger. The the feeling of sunlight through a familiar window, the slower pace of days that did not feel so heavy with consequence, the way hope used to come more naturally before disappointment taught you to brace for things. It is a tender ache, remembering simpler versions of yourself. Not because the past was perfect, but because there were pieces of your heart that felt less guarded then, less tired, less scattered. Sometimes you do not miss a certain year, or a certain house, or a certain season. Sometimes you simply miss the part of yourself that knew how to rest. And God knows that too. He knows what this life has required from you. He knows the invisible ways you have had to keep going. He knows the emotional labor, the private disappointments, the small griefs that never got a proper name, the heaviness that settled into your body one ordinary day at a time. He knows how much courage it has taken just to remain soft in a world that keeps giving people reasons to harden. So, before anything else today, before the schedule fully wakes up, before your thoughts start racing ahead, before the outside world starts telling you what matters, let this be the place where your heart remembers what is true. You are not behind God. You are not forgotten by God. You are not too worn down to be loved well by God. You are not failing simply because you feel tired. You are not weak because the season has been heavy. You are not less spiritual because peace has been harder to find than it used to be. The pain is real, but it is not final. The season feels quiet, but God has not left. The heart feels tired, but it is not beyond restoration. And maybe now prayer can begin almost without you noticing, like a river widening slowly. God, here I am in the softness of this morning, and I do not want to rush past you. I bring you the version of me that feels tired in places words do not easily reach. The version of me that is kept going because life did not pause, even when my heart wanted to. The version of me that has smiled when I was weary, answered when I felt empty, carried things I never really stopped to set down. I am not coming to you polished. I am coming as I am, and I trust that is enough for you. Before the noise of the day gets louder, let your presence be the first thing that steadies me. Sit with me here in this quiet room, in this early light, in this fragile space before everything begins pulling at me. Let this moment become shelter, not because the world has changed overnight, but because you are here, and that changes what the heart can endure. You know the heaviness I woke up with, the thoughts that were already waiting for me, the unfinished things, the private fears, the sadness that comes without warning sometimes, the pressure to keep moving, the quiet ache of being emotionally tired in ways I cannot always explain to other people. I do not have to explain it perfectly to you. You understand what even I cannot fully sort out. Restore my soul, not just my energy, my soul. Restore the place in me that has become dry. Restore the place in me that has become guarded. Restore the place in me that has started expecting disappointment before hope. Restore the place in me that has learned to live with too much inner noise. Lead me beside still waters today, even if only inwardly. If the day is busy, let there still be still waters inside me. If responsibilities are many, let there still be still waters inside me. If conversations are difficult, let there still be still waters inside me. If the world is loud, let there still be a quiet place in me where your voice remains gentle and clear. And God, help me not to despise small mercies. Help me notice the light coming through the window. Help me notice the breath in my lungs. Help me notice the grace hidden inside ordinary things. Help me notice that I am not empty-handed, even in an imperfect season. There are places in my life that still ache, yes. There are prayers still unanswered, griefs still unhealed, fears that still return, burdens that still feel heavier than I want them to. But even here, there is mercy. Even here, there is bread for today. Even here, your kindness has not disappeared. Thank you for staying close through seasons I would not have chosen. Thank you for not getting impatient with my tired heart. Thank you for every time you carried me when I thought I was only carrying myself. Thank you for the ways you kept me from breaking in places where I was sure I would. Thank you for grace that does not rush me or shame me for needing rest. I give you the shape of this day before it fully forms. The conversations waiting for me. The expectations. The emotional undercurrent I am already feeling. The pressure I cannot control. The memories that may return. The moments where I may feel overwhelmed without warning. Be in all of it before I get there. And if I begin to hurry myself into numbness, slow me gently. If I begin to speak to myself harshly, soften that voice. If I begin to believe that I am alone in what I carry, remind me again that you are near. If I begin to confuse exhaustion with failure, remind me that even tired hearts can still be held. If I forget this peace by midday, bring me back without condemnation. I do not need this day to be perfect in order for it to be sacred. I do not need every burden removed in order to feel your presence. I do not need to understand the whole season in order to trust that you are walking with me through it. Even though I walk through the valley, you are with me. Even here. Even now. Even in an ordinary morning with a tired heart and an unfinished life. Let that be enough to steady me. And for the one listening who feels far from themselves, far from old joy, far from rest, far from the softer places in life they thought they had lost, wrap this morning around them gently. Meet them in the places where words feel hard. Let them feel safe enough to exhale. Let them remember that they do not have to be whole to be loved, and they do not have to be strong to be carried. This morning, I choose a slower beginning with you. Not because everything is fixed, not because I suddenly feel light, but because I trust that peace can begin quietly. I trust that restoration can begin gently. I trust that your presence can reach places I do not know how to heal on my own. So I sit here a little longer. I breathe a little deeper. I let this moment be what it is. A small return. A soft beginning. A quiet place where my tired heart is not demanded from, only loved. And when I rise from this prayer, let me carry that peace with tenderness. Not a loud peace. Not a performed peace. A quiet one. The kind that settles in the bones. The kind that does not erase reality, but helps me walk through it more gently. The kind that reminds me I am shepherded, even here. If this prayer feels like it found you in a place you have not had words for, you are not alone in that. There are many tired hearts learning how to begin again slowly, and maybe today, that slow beginning is wholly enough.